Good evening, Your Grace.
Good evening, Majesty.
I believe you have some business you would like to transact with our court or bring to conclusion.
I do, Your Majesty. Majesties, I beg a boon.
Ask, and if it be a right and proper thing, and within our power, it shall be yours.
As Your Majesties previously commanded, our Squire Midair MacCormaic, Master of the Pelican, has stood his vigil, been counseled by peers and members of the populace, fought well on his heart, his mind, and his deeds, and now makes to present himself to you to be elevated into the order of chivalry, and this is what I ask Your Majesties to do now.
Call for commanding. Their Majesties summon forth Midair MacCormaic!
Now comes the juggler, Midair. See how he keeps the virtues constantly aloft. Faith passes from hand to hand. Honor is thrown high and caught with grace. Temperance passes by franchise, both arcing through the air. Now the final orb is added to the toss. Prowess flows with all the other elements of chivalry. William, king and fellow juggler, and his queen, Soul, now calls Midair MacCormaic forward to name him a possessor of all virtues, a Midrealm knight.
Midair, your knight has begged a boon for you to be elevated to the order of the chivalry. Do you still wish to take up the burden and swear fealty to the crown?
Aye.
Is there a companion of the Order of the Pelican to attest to Midair's service?
Your Majesties, I am Gregoire de Leon, Master of the Order of the Pelican, Knight of the Society.
Giovanna Adamari, Mistress of the Order of the Pelican.
We will be speaking together about Midair's service.
When Master Midair asked us to speak about his service, the first thing that came to mind was a comedy routine.
You see, Midair started in the SCA many years ago as a jester. He wasn't really funny, so people started hitting him with sticks. I think that's why he's probably here now.
But giving it more thought, we thought the comedy routine didn't seem appropriate. Yes, Midair started in the SCA as service as a jester, and he continues to perform in both serious and not so serious ways. But he does more than that, so it kind of felt like a cheap gag.
I wasn't convinced, but I thought maybe instead we should write a song. Something about wanting to be where the nights are. But that doesn't really touch on his service either.
I suggested that we speak from the heart.
Seemed like a good idea to me as well. I mean, this is an important day for Master Midair.
Midair was my pelican, and he ushered me along my path, to my own path, answering questions, giving advice, setting a good example of how service should be done. Humbly, selflessly, in a way that enriches those it touches.
For my part, Midair has been a friend and sounding board throughout my SCA service career. He has supported good ideas, suggested changes to questionable ideas, and spoke truthfully when ideas needed to be scrapped. That last bit, speaking truth to power when it is inconvenient or uncomfortable, above all other aspects of knightly service, is perhaps the most important.
Midair has done the selfless service of a Pelican for many years and will assuredly continue to do so going forward.
Midair has been doing the selfless service of a knight for many years and will assuredly continue to do so going forward.
Your Majesties, we heartily recommend this man to you for
elevation.
Thank you.
Is there a knight to speak to Midair's chivalry?
Your Majesty, I am Duke Brano, Knight and Pelican of this kingdom. I normally don't often get asked to speak as a knight, or the knight has already spoke for his squire. Midair asked me to speak for him today, and really I didn't know what to say, other than his dedication to perfection of our art is the thing that makes the SCA still live for me. Sometimes it's very hard, but I see him come out to my yard every week after 45 minutes, an hour drive, with a big smile and learn and do something different every practice. I have no doubt that he will continue to do this, and that we will continue to work hard, all of us together, and that he will be that person that makes their day, someone's day in our yard, teaches them something new, and makes their SCA the experience that we all look for. This is what makes him a knight.
Thank you, Your Grace. Thank you. Is there a companion of the Order of the Laurel who will attest to Midair's skill in the arts?
Your Majesties, I would speak for this candidate. I met Mistress Alina's husband many years ago. I've known Mistress Alina's husband for a long time. I met him when I lived in Onstiora, and his fame was even known then. He was just kind of this goofy guy, dancing. But even then, he cared about his spouse's passion, which was dance. And though he wasn't very good at it, he wanted to do it. Later, I moved to the middle, which is where I met Midair, my friend. And I learned how he was a good, kind man. He did a lot of good work for the kingdom. I'm long gone from these lands, and I'm now from the east, but from afar, I've watched him grow into the person he is today, the member of the canon to the Order of the Chivalry that's for you. Now, I tried to knit some things together. I danced around what I might say to him today. And I'm afraid that anything I really come up with would sound foolish. I had trouble coming up with my own line, so I thought, whose line is it anyway? I am going to ask for your help. So just shout out some words to me. I need help here. What can I say? What can I say to Midair?
Albatross.
Respectful.
Ariel.
This is good.
Generous.
Anybody in the back? You know what? I appreciate it, but I jest. Because that's really hard to do, and I appreciate the skill of being able to do that. So instead, what I will do is speak from my own heart, and I will say what means to me for him, for how he is as an artisan, and more what he does to champion the arts. So you may know that he does things like knitting, but it's more than that. He's showing that everybody else here is that's an art and a craft that a man can do, which is important. He's standing up as a champion that for people who wouldn't feel otherwise. As a dancer, he's there for people who need a partner. So it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, it doesn't matter if you're older or a child. He will take your hand and he will lead you through that dance. And maybe most importantly what I love about him is he will help you find your voice. So if you don't have a voice and you need somebody to speak for you, he will show you how to do that. And I think that that is what makes him most commendable for this order, and that is what most makes me love him as a friend and respect him as a peer. He is certainly a peer. Thank you, Your Majesty.
It's your master of the defense to speak on Midair's behalf.
There is Your Majesty. I'm Master Azrael Lefay, Order of Defense, and I decided to write a poem about Midair.
Oh dear.
is no regular boy. For Midair has already proven he's a bird of good grace. He'll often greet you with a smile on his face. You'll see a knight of the realm should be more than his sword, courageous and true, even faced with a horde. He is a special case as he combines all these things. He's made of magic and mermaids and mochas he breathes. What makes his prowess isn't a title or belt. It's how he signs his name with a black and blue belt. This I can say to you without question or jest. You have to admit his curls are the best. Together we laugh, together we share. Heck, I can't remember the last time I've heard him swear. There's a truth I will tell you, and many agree. He would never get apart as an ant or a tree. His presence too charming, his bells ring quite alarming. It is time for more seriousness. I hope I've risen your curiousness. It is my great honor to tell you this day, this place would be lacking if he could not stay. I commend to you, your Majesties, and ask you, pretty please. Make my friend and knight this court, so we'll have tales of rejoicing to report. If Midair is worthy to be seen, his future lies above it, so don't be mean. Clearly I joke, that's our favorite part. Give him a good one and make it art.
Is there a royal peer who will attest to Midair's nobility?
I will, your majesty. I am Doc, son of Thorgrim, Duke of the Midrealm, Knight of the Society, Master of the Order of the Pelican. I have been asked to speak on Midair's nobility. And frankly, your majesty, I have some concerns. Nobility is an ineffable quality, your majesty. We have heard of his dedication to service. We have heard of his love of the arts. We have heard of his mastery of service, of props. And all of these things are true. But it is his self-effacing humor, his untiring wit that he brings to all of these things that gives me pause, your majesty. Honestly, I think he's going to make the rest of us look bad. And unless your majesty can assure me that this is the best thing for the order, I must maintain these concerns and express them to your majesty.
That's very fair, your grace, and as you have been a member of the order a long time, your counsel is well heard. But I think we can safely assure you that the best thing we can do is to put this man into the order of chivalry. We have no concern.
Very well, your majesty. And as I said before, if nobility is an ineffable quality, then Midair's pretty effing noble.
Their Majesties summon forth the Order of Chivalry!
Yep.
Noble knights and masters, having heard the words of these nobles, is it your judgment that Midair is worthy to be numbered among our chivalry?
Aye!
Yeah, your grace, I believe you have some business that you must conclude before we may proceed.
Here, we must now take from you this symbol of service to us, and we release you from your service to us as squire.
And now we must also take back your belt. And remember, you wore this belt with
Thank you. We are a noble house, and you have brought this right on. This is just one step on your path. Now your path diverges, but we do not release you from our housekeeping or our friendship.
Midair, right mindful of your prowess on the field and responsive to the wishes of these, your peers, we are minded to make you knight. Know that to wear the belt and chain of the knight is to hold a sacred trust, that the obligations of knighthood will demand your efforts every moment of your life. A knight of the society must be respectful to all religions, never offending the faith of another. A knight must respect all those who are weak or defenseless, whether through age, infirmity, poverty, or vow, and he must be steadfast in defending them. A knight must love his kingdom and his province, and fulfill most faithfully his feudal obligations to his baron and his king. His word must be dependable beyond doubt or question. He must never flee from the face of his foes. He must be generous to all, and always and everywhere. He must be the champion of the white and the good. The laws of the society and the customs of the kingdom require that a knight be proud, as you have demonstrated upon the field. That a knight be courteous, as you have shown yourself to be, and these noble gentlemen and ladies have attested. And that a knight be loyal to his kingdom and his society, as you have shown yourself to be, most assuredly. Do you then desire to accept the burden of knighthood and swear fealty to the crown? Aye. Is there a belt? Wear this belt in token of your prowess.
Yes, Your Majesty.
In the most ancient of days, Your Majesty, a man, Talamar II, called Eliyahu before him in his court. King Talamar removed the chain from his own neck, gave it to Eliyahu, and called him knight.
And the time came that Talamar reigned again, and Eliyahu was his prince. And Talamar's squire, Sir Thomas ap Llewellyn, was called forward to be knighted, and so Prince Eliyahu gave the chain to Talamar to give to his squire.
And then there came a time when Thomas's squire, Finn,
My squire,
Wolfgang, I'm sorry. And it was returned to the household.
And then Thomas's squire, Finn, Verdi,
Who was my grand squire. And it was returned to me. And his squire, Alwith, wore it.
And then, last year, our squire, William Rain. And then today, Midair MacCormaic. And so this is the lineage of this chain. Royal chain and noble chain, Your Majesty, to bestow upon you.
Wear this chain. Is there another chain?
Your Majesty, there is. This is the chain of the Knights of the Barony of Cinnabar. First worn by me, Eliyahu. From me, it passed to Doc.
From me, passed to Eliyahu's squire, Oaken.
And from Wolfgang, it passed to Dog Squire Gerhard.
From Gerhard, it passed to Strong. From me, it passed to Kieran. From Kieran to Dirk. From Dirk to Oscar. To my Squire Gregoire.
From my neck, it next went to Sir Yorleaf.
From my neck, to Jason Wagenquist.
From mine, to Your Majesty, for Midair.
Thank you, sir. Are there spurs?
There are, Your Majesty.
Wear these spurs as an outward token of your new station.
Your Majesties, the sword for Midair has been commissioned and the artisans are crafting it even as we speak. When it is done, we will bring it to Your Majesties to bestow upon Midair.
This is very fine. But you should remember these words, whether you have a sword or not at the moment. Bear your sword with strength, so disposing your heart to goodness that you never use it to injure anyone unjustly, but always use it to defend the just and the right. Are you prepared to swear fealty to the crown?
I am.
Good.
Swear. Comment. Crown of the Middle Kingdom.
I'm guessing you don't need to be promised.
I here swear fealty and do homage to the crown of the Middle Kingdom, to ever be a good knight and true, reverent and generous, shield of the weak, obedient to my liege lord, foremost in battle, courteous at all times, champion of the right and the good. Thus swear I, Midair MacCormaic.
Des hier en wit en on handa sella, swat fin man drikten, to medamiana, in a hold shippa, mid handrita, alandada, mid arunga, and apricha, mid reyes raka. I just like pulling a sword out. In remembrance of oaths given and received. In remembrance of your lineage and your obligations. Be thou a good knight and true. Please rise, Sir Midair. As I was struck by Finn, who is in lineage with Chain, he was struck. Bear this blow, no other. Part where we would read the scroll.
Yes, Your Majesty.
You seem to be without a scroll, Your Grace.
Yes, Your Majesty. If I may, I have a story to tell. Many, many years ago, 34 years ago, when I was knighted, Mistress Kathleen Allen Mistress of the Laurel, then in the Middle Kingdom, created a beautiful scroll for me. Last year, when our squire, William Rain, was knighted, I contacted Mistress Kathleen, now living in the Kingdom of Antir, and said, would you create a scroll for our squire in the same style as the one you created for me? And she did, and it's beautiful. And so the time came when Midair was put on vigil, and I contacted Mistress Kathleen, wrote her a letter, and said, it would be lovely if you could create a scroll in the same style as the other two for Midair. And she said, I'd love to. And she sent it by messenger to me, and it arrived, and it was beautiful, extraordinary. And I was so concerned that any damage might befall this great work of art that I packed it very carefully and stored it in our home in a very safe place where it sits now. So at some future date, Your Majesty, you see the Midair, you see the scroll, then you can bring to Your Majesties for your signatures, and precisely.
So let me say something then, as we have no scroll to read for you. When I knelt there, I waited to hear the words that the herald said, we confirm unto him by letters patent. Let there be no doubt, whether there be scroll or not, that Midair MacCormaic is knighted this day in our court at Northern Oaken War Maneuvers. Please greet the members of your order, Sir Midair.
Damn,